In order for a meeting to run smoothly and for the fairness of all members, meetings take on rules. In our case, and in Toastmasters, and many meetings, the rules that they use is Robert's Rules of Order. This is about 700 pages, and if you would like something to put you to sleep, please read this. And I'm probably one of the only people that's excited and actually reads, not because I have to, but because I want to. We run our meetings using Robert's Rules of Order. I've had handed out a motion sheet. There's two sides, and I'm going to go through how to effectively use this. This will help you as a member, help the chair, and the chair then will be able to help us run effective meetings. I'll demonstrate how this chart works and how it's put together. I'm not going to go through every specific motion. There is a resource that you can go to, but this will help give you the basis so that you can be part of the business meeting. And if there is something that you want to say, this will help you to be able to say it. Starting from the bottom of the chart on the first page, proposing new business. That's the main motion, and that's when someone wants to propose something, business to the club or to an organization, in our case, to Hershaw Toastmasters. So you start from the bottom. If you look on the left-hand side, it tells you what kind of motion it can be. This is what's called the main motion, and every other motion is called the secondary motion, because it helps the main motion. There's 4 classifications, and if you look to the left, you'll see what classification those groups of motions are. Each classification comes with different ways for it to be handled. The next column, what you want to do, this is what thing you want to bring forward. Then it's the RONR is the Robert's Rules of Order newly revised. And beside that, you'll see a number, 22, 21. It's the section that actually relates to it in the Robert's Rules of Order. That is, under that column is the actual name of that particular motion. Then to the right of that, it's what you say. This is what you'd say once you're recognized by the chair. For any type of motion to actually be brought forth to the assembly or to the club, the chair must actually recognize that person and allow it to be said. Some motions require what's called a second, and all a seconder means is that somebody else besides you wants this motion to be heard. You'll hear sometimes in reports because it's from a committee doesn't need a second. That's because there's generally more than one person in a committee, meaning that more than one person wanted to be heard, so you don't require a second. So beside the motion, you will then see if there's an S or not. Some motions, very few of them, you can actually interrupt the speaker. These motions are to the chair, and the chair must decide right away how to handle those. So you'll see on the right-hand side, you have interrupt, second, debatable. You have amendable, what type of vote is needed. Some require a majority, which is more than half. Some require more than 2/3 of who is present. And some require half of your entire membership. And there's a legend at the bottom to help you with that. And then can that motion be brought back before the assembly under the reconsider column? Every type of motion, you have characteristics or questions that you want to ask about it. First, what is its precedence? There's an arrow on the far left. Motions must start from the bottom and make its way up. If you're going with any other motion, if it's underneath, it's called what's out of order. The chair then will say that this motion is out of order and cannot be brought before the assembly unless that motion is actually above it. You start with the first, let's say, main motion. If somebody brings a motion up to limit debate, and limit debate just means Robert's rule says that every person can speak for 10 minutes and can speak twice. You can bring a motion up to say, I think everybody should only be able to speak one time for 5 minutes. And as that motion is on the floor, if somebody says, I would like to send a committee, that send a committee motion being underneath it is what's called out of order and cannot be brought up at that time. That's where the left-hand side will give you an idea of can that motion be brought up or not. Breaking into the categories, you have 7 subsidiary motions. Those motions are only there to help to bring action to the main motion. Then you have on the top privilege motions. Privilege motions are brought forth to make the comfortability of the assembly. So for instance, register a complaint. So there was talking outside, you would raise a question of privilege to the chair, and the chair will then go take care of it. On the back side, these are two more classifications of motions. And again, for these ones, there is no precedent, so they can be brought up at any time. Some of them are treated a little bit differently, but just for simplicity, these ones have no order in terms of when they can be brought up. On the top, you have what are called incidental. These help with procedure in terms of asking a question, or you don't think a motion should be brought up. That's where these categories come into play. The bottom one is when you bring a motion back to the assembly. So it might be something that was adopted and you want to make an amendment to it. There is a couple other ones as well, but those are the basic ones that you're bringing back. It's kind of complicated, but this chart at least helps you if there's something that you want to say in a business meeting, you're not sure how it's supposed to be handled. If you're allowed to bring something up, this chart will help you and say something during the business meeting and be part of your club. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.